These are the stories behind your favorite disciple songs. I am the wall, I am the rain, I am the violence, I am the hate, I am your genocide, I am your child defied, I am the stand of everything that you did. Give me the penalty that you deserve. This is the story behind the song for a new song of our new album. We're on the Love Letter Kill Shot tour. We're playing all these songs. It's been a blast. And today's episode is about Reanimate, track 2 on the album, one of the 4 to be pre-released before the record, and a lot of cool stuff going on in this one. So let's start at the beginning. You've got, actually you should pull up the voice memo and tell about that, because that's really cool.
Oh, yeah.
So this was an idea that Kevin had, which a lot of our best songs are just ideas. They start as ideas. We've talked about this before, and so it's one that
We had this idea to reanimate all of the old Disney movies.
right. That was like, they're coming out of the vault. We're gonna
We could probably improve on Snow White's face a little bit. She needs
The
more.
first one, so yeah.
Yeah, she needs a little more definition in the nose.
That's right.
You
That's
know,
always
just,
been my critique as
you know,
well.
Yeah. Her face is a little too pale.
Yeah,
We gotta-
and the dwarves are very offensive.
yeah,
So,
I know. I mean, what's up with that freaking sleepy guy? Like, give that man some coffee. Did
Seriously.
coffee not exist back then?
That must not have been. That was the 30s, right?
Yeah.
So there was no coffee.
Yeah. So Reanimate was actually an idea originally not for Disciple.
Right. Tell about that. Talk about that whole idea.
So we've tossed around the idea of doing a metal project, which is
A side project, not
a side project.
not
Yeah.
Disciple.
That is still, kind of up in the air. Not sure when it will happen. It's more just kind of a thing that we've talked about doing for fun. But this idea actually originated for that, so it naturally was a heavier song intended for a more metal project.
Right. Andrew had written some music, not for this, but he had written some other music that was really heavy.
Yeah.
And so we were starting to head down that road, and then you had this idea, and you thought,
And some people think that Disciple is like a metal band, and
Sure.
we know we're not. We consider ourselves a hard rock band, and so, but Andrew and Joey both really love metal, and so I got the idea that I thought it would be fun to do a metal project. I'm really not that good at like that deep metal scream. So we thought about like getting somebody else to come in and like me sing, and then have somebody else do that really growly type thing. I'm not really all that great at it. I mean, I can do it, as you can hear on Reanimate and Dead Militia and songs like that. I mean, I do it, but I know there's other guys that do it way better. So, so we were like, totally, I was excited about it. Let's write some metal songs. Andrew's writing some stuff, and so got this idea for the metal song. Like, a lot of my ideas happened over the past 2 or 3 years. Sermons, songs, whatever. I know this is weird, and just get over it. It's just the truth. They happen in the shower. I don't know why the shower is this place of cleansing, apparently. Yep. And I just get all this inspiration. So I got this idea in the shower. 2 songs that were written in the shower from this new album were Best Thing Ever and Reanimate. 2 diametrically opposed songs. So anyway, I got this idea, and this is the original voice memo. So whenever I get ideas, I will actually just get on the iPhone and do a voice memo so I don't forget the idea. And then I come back to Josie and Joey and say, okay, this is the idea, and this is kind of what I was thinking about doing. And see if I can crank this up really well.
I believe in you.
You believe in me?
I do.
I believe in you. And so the original name of the metal side project that we were talking about doing is called Death Penalty. And so I was thinking about writing a song called Death Penalty for Death Penalty. So
which is funny, because when you named the band Disciple, it was because you had a song called Disciple.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like kind of a full circle idea.
Yes. So here's the original idea for the song Death Penalty.
Little Death Penalty idea. Verse would be 1, 2, 3, 4. Ba-ba-bum, ba-ba-bum, bum, bum, bum. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Again.
step up would be 1, 2, 3, 4.
No, that didn't happen. That would have been cool. We abandoned that idea.
We messed it up.
We abandoned that idea pretty quickly. And then the next one was...
Death penalty chorus idea. 1, 2, ready, go. Tell me the penalty that I deserve for these crimes against humanity. Dun, 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 bam, 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 bam. Da, da, dun, da, dun, da, dun, ba, dun, da. Da, dun, da, ba, da, dun, ba, dun, da. Wow, 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 wow.
So a lot.
Yeah.
What was the date on those?
Oh yeah,
dude.
pull up the date. Yeah.
That's crazy. This is going to blow your mind.
So the album came out September. Wait, what did it come out? I don't even know.
September 13th.
September 13th, 2019.
The day that these voice memos were made was August the 4th, 2017.
Cool. So more than 2 years before the song actually came out,
Yeah, crazy.
the genesis of it was happening. So
Yeah.
so you had the kind of the gist. You definitely had the feel. More than
Yeah.
anything, you had the feel. You had
Yeah.
the groove, and you knew what it was going to feel like.
Yeah.
It seems like.
Yeah, and so like all my songs that I write musically are always simple. So that's a metal riff, but it's easy. Like
Right.
you know, anybody could, you know, first year guitar player could play it, you know, you know. But that's kind of like I have this theory that, you know, like I always want to dabble in the intricate and the simple, because like the simplest songs are usually the best ones. Like Highway to Hell, I know that's crazy to say as a Christian, but it's a great song. Back in Black by AC/DC, you know, all these very simple songs.
Musically, yeah.
Musically, they're very easy to play, very easy drum beats, very easy melodies, and those are the ones that just, you know, everybody's like,
It just
classic, iconic.
Yeah, it's easier to. I feel like there's more space for emotion
Mm-hmm.
when it's not super technical. And so, yeah, being a band like ours, like you said, we like to do the technical, crazy stuff because that's...
We want to dabble in both. Show
that's-
that we're capable of both.
Right, because
Yeah.
both are pleasing in different
Yeah.
ways. You have something technical and crazy that's pleasing because it's impressive. But if you have a whole album of that, there's probably not much emotion tied to it in a lot of ways.
There's a lot of truth in the whole less is more. You know, that's what
Yeah.
I've learned in music. Like even growing up, you know, obviously different styles of music call for more, but it's usually, like you said, always the songs where less is involved are the ones that people end up
Yeah.
remembering and singing, and you know.
And it's like we want to dabble in both, you know, like Never Too Late. Joey's, you know, going off. Cuff the Criminal. He's still going off, but it's, you know, on a much smaller scale. Like I always think about the Metallica Black album, and the song track 2, down dun 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 dun.
Yeah. Yeah.
What is it?
No.
Ba, 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 ba,
Wait.
ba, 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 It's just so simple, and the drum beat is like gak, 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 gak. But when he's doing it, everybody in the audience is air drumming. Everybody all of a sudden turns into a drummer.
Just like Def Leppard.
Sad but true.
Sad but true.
Yeah. Def Leppard too. You know,
Yeah.
like Pour Some Sugar on Me is like. Wait, hold on, how's it go? Da da da. I can't remember. Crap.
Which song?
Pour Some Sugar on Me. The
Oh.
first like snare thing. It's like. Da 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 da.
Bum, bum, ah, ooh, ah, bum, bum, ah, bum, bum.
Always the ones that make you air
Yeah.
drum.
Absolutely, yeah.
Totally.
So that's kind of the point of this one, you know, it's like this really simple, you know, I just felt like just kind of droning that would be fun, would be cool, and it did. It sounded very metal. And so I wish we knew whenever we went to Andrews and made the original
I could
demo.
probably find the original demo if you talk about it for a minute.
Yeah, so basically we went and took it to Andrew, and which is kind of my MO when I'm writing an idea that's incomplete or just starting an idea, because these guys are way better musicians than I am. So I'll have an idea and say, this is kind of where I want to start, and this is kind of the melody I want to sing over the chorus, which you heard that kind of melody. So I knew kind of what the chord progression needed to be. One of Josiah and Andrew's things is they like to take a melody and do a chord that you normally wouldn't do over time. Whatever sounds like the chord that should go there, let's try some kind of relative chord that's weird and crazy. And you kind of hear that in Reanimate. It's very dark, and it goes to these like it's like.
Well,
You know,
it's also a key change.
Yeah.
It's a key change going into the chorus, which is already really cool and dark.
Really weird, yeah.
And then, it goes to that, sharp 4 chord when it goes halftime. What a happy
No, yeah.
it's like really like, ooh, like unsettling.
It's like,
I love
I didn't like it at
I remember
first.
you wanting to change it, and
It just grew on me.
totally. I really loved it from the beginning. Added to the mood.
Yeah, I didn't like it at all. When that what I have it do do. I was like, that's kind of weird. But the more I listened to it, I was like, yeah, that's kind of what the song needs.
Yeah. I do have my email only goes back to Reanimate version 3, but he sent it over. Andrew sent it over this demo of Reanimate version 3, and Joey responded and said, "Please God, let's put Reanimate on the next Disciple record."
There you
so
go.
That was when it was like we were talking about putting on this heavy project.
What's the date?
That was January 14th, 2018.
2018. So when Joey heard it, basically, go talk about that, Joey. So.
Yeah, like when I heard the song, I obviously most people know that I was a fan of Disciple before I was ever in the band, and immediately
And a Metalhead and Slipknot and Avenged
Metalhead,
Sevenfold.
all that stuff, and it. When I heard it, it almost kind of gave me like a Scars Remain type vibe, like a song that could have fit on that record, and I was just like, man, it would be a shame for this song to not go on the Disciple record, and I just immediately became I got on my own team and was like, I'm going to fight for this song to be on the record. I'm just going to keep saying it. And actually when I suggested it, all the guys were kind of like,
Sure.
yeah, let's do it.
Fine.
So it actually didn't even take like much discussion.
Well, yeah,
I just basically said, "Are you sure?"
Right.
I mean, it's really heavy. It'll be probably the heaviest song we've ever done.
Well, that's what, to me, it checked a few boxes because lyrically it was so Jesus heavy, and so that obviously fits Disciples' MO really well. I knew that Disciple fans would like it for that reason. But then, it was, by far heavier than anything on Long Live the Rebels. And so, to me, thinking about the new songs we have songs like Cuff the Criminal that are kind of new territory, songs like, Chemical Wisdom, and even songs like Best Thing Ever that have some new kind of ground being covered. And to me, it was like, oh yeah, we can have this song that's heavier than anything else we've done in a long time. Totally seems like the right move,
And for all those people asking, is this album going to be heavy? I had those people in mind.
As you can tell, Joey loves
you're welcome.
that question.
You're welcome. And if you don't like it, go listen to something else.
Seriously.
There's plenty of heavy bands out there, so go listen to them.
Familiarize yourself with the exits. We have 2 in the front, 2 in the back. Yeah, so...
Do you want to go into kind of what the lyric is? Like where that developed?
Yeah, so it was basically writing a song about death penalty, and the death penalty of Jesus Christ, and kind of like the idea behind it. And so, us writing a metal project, I wanted to write a song about Jesus dying for us from a very dark perspective, and very heavy metal perspective. And most people aren't writing songs about the cross of Christ from that perspective. When we sing about the cross, think about every song you've ever heard about the cross. It's usually it's about the power of the cross. It's about the beauty of the cross. It's about the love of Jesus dying for us on the cross. It's never really about the ugliness, and the actual transfer of sin. It's almost like whenever we do talk about the transfer of sin, we do it in such a vague way that makes it palatable to sing about in church.
Right.
Because if we're in church and we're singing, he became a whore, he became a child molester, it's like, that sounds terrible.
Right. It's the truth, but it's not, like you said, palatable.
Yeah. It's not safe. It's very terrible. It's very awful. But I thought, this is a heavy metal song. I want to try to go there. I want to try to push that boundary of truth, of this is actually what happened. Because when you think about what Jesus did, this verse that we pulled up, and we sing the line, from one of the Bible versions, he who knew no sin became sin for us. I'm not sure which version that is, but that's one of the versions. I've got the New Living Translation pulled up here, and it says it like this. It says, the verse before it says, "For God was in Christ, reconciling the world to Himself," which I love that, reconciling. So like if you're irreconciled, that means you're separated, but He was reconciling the world back to God. God was saying, the world has been separated from me, and I am bringing you back to me through Christ. That's freaking beautiful. And He says, for God was in Christ, reconciling the world to Himself, no longer counting people's sins against them. And He gave us this wonderful message of reconciliation. Here's the wonderful message. So we are Christ's ambassadors. God is making His appeal through us. We speak for Christ when we plead, come back to God. Actually, that's not it at all. Dang it. It's the next line. It's the next line. It's verse 21. Hold on.
You got it.
I got it somewhere. I had to go back. 1 Corinthians, or is it 2 Corinthians? Second Corinthians 5:21.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I copied only the verse before the awesome verse that is in the song. 21. I finished with, so we speak for Christ when we plead, come back to God. For God made Christ, who never sinned, to be the offering for our sin, so that we could be made right with God. And then you click on it, and New Living Translation, it says, or to become sin itself. And other translations say, he who knew no sin became sin itself. So think about that. Became sin itself. Name a sin. Name the most awful sin. I've already said child molestation. That's terrible. It's awful. It's the worst. There's even worse ones than that, and He has become that. He's become genocide. He has become war. He has become rape. He has become all of these, evil things, taking advantage of people. And this, what's the penalty that these people deserve for murder? What is the penalty that these people deserve for child molestation? What is the penalty that they deserve for genocide and endless war, all this, what is the penalty? And He says, give me the penalty that you deserve for these crimes against humanity. Let me die like a worm, which is another reference to a Bible verse in Psalms, I believe, which is in the song. And, every single thing that I abhor, every single thing that I hate, every single thing that has made you irreconcilable to God, He says, that's what I've become. And, when we think about Christ, dying for our sins, we don't ever, do you really? I don't. Do you ever really consider Christ taking on the worst sin you've ever committed? It's more like He just takes on the pretty sins.
Yeah, like He died for me lying. He died for me getting angry at that person. He died for me, not lying a little bit on my taxes,
because we assume whenever we actually do a big horrible sin that God won't forgive us.
Yeah, that's totally the instinct,
right?
Yeah,
we're like we commit this big horrible sin, and then we're like, God hates me.
It's easier to believe that other people's big sins are forgiven over
He
your own.
He only died for my small sins.
Yeah.
He didn't die for the big sins. He didn't die for, He only died for my sins that are acceptable, that will keep me out of jail.
Yeah, right.
Those are the only ones He died for. And that's not the gospel of Jesus Christ.
That's right.
And it's, so I just thought, I want to write this really heavy, metal, dark message about the truth of what Jesus did. And so kind of took a page out of the Radical playbook with, having this worship moment in this metal song. Radical being a very hard rock song, Reanimate being a very metal song, and having this worship moment where we really drive the point home and kind of worship Him and saying, he who knew no sin became sin for us.
And that's what's so cool, is because it is worshipy, but it is so still harrowing, as opposed
dark,
to the Radical one being a very uplifting, makes your heart feel good. This is we're telling the truth about Jesus, and we're worshiping Him in that way, and thanking Him for this. But both the lyric and the music are presented in a much more solemn way.
Think about literally inhaling darkness. Have you ever walked through an evil dark place? Like how we walked through the red light district of Amsterdam. Yeah. If you've ever just walked through this evil and this darkness, and you just kind of are in it, or just in a place where you're just oh my gosh, I'm just surrounded by evil, and Jesus just inhaled it. he just took it in, this. And so it's almost that moment when we're saying he who knew no sin became sin for us. It's like, think about, like, he's just like literally inhaling the cigarette of evil, like just taking it in his lungs, letting all the poison fill his body and destroy him, so that, and literally taking the poison out of our bodies and inhaling it, ingesting it into himself,
Yeah. I don't know if we're done with this. I had another thought about the music part of it.
Yeah.
A memory that I just had. The bridge part, or the breakdown and everything. Originally, that was written to where the whole thing was that rhythm. I don't know if you guys remember me like taking it and recording it differently at my home and sending y'all a video of like the audio of it and like, hey, what do y'all think about this? Because like it starts out in the 3/4 and then you guys actually keep playing the 3/4 rhythm, and I changed to a 4/4 like straight on, and then it comes back around and I meet up with you guys again and do 3/4 at the end.
Super cool.
I was actually going to see, does that version 3 have the original breakdown on it?
Got it.
Potentially.
Yeah, I do remember that, and this is one of the, again,
probably one of my favorite parts of the song.
It's one of the best
where it goes to the
breakdowns. Partially because of what you were saying earlier. It's pretty simple. 2 notes, and then one note just chugged and over and over and over.
Speak for yourself. It's not that easy on drums.
Yeah, the drums. Well, and that's what's kind of cool is the guitars are kind of almost out of the way. They're just doing easy stuff so that the drums can kind of show off. I feel like, and the emotion is just huge.
I don't know. I don't know if this demo will have like the updated.
Yeah, let me see. This is version 3. It's loading.
We're rediscovering ourselves.
Yeah, totally. But I do feel like musically, it's a song. I think a lot of this album fits this mold in my mind, but it's very satisfying to me that it is. The lyrics and the music are pointing to the exact same thing. Like, the music is doing exactly what it's making you feel. The lyrics, you know what I mean? And I think we did it, and I didn't write on this song, so that's why I can say this objectively. But it makes me feel exactly what the lyrics are saying, as opposed to just like some really great lyrics written over just some music. It's like they are both doing the same mission almost, which is really sweet. We'll see. But I thought that was just really cool. The first time I heard it, I was like, definitely. Yeah, blown away. And then whenever you suggested making it a Disciple song, I was fully on board.
Well, and the word reanimate actually means to bring back to life. And so, if, something being dead, and to reanimate it is to bring it to life again. And so sin kills our innocence. So our innocence is lying dead, our guilt is alive and well and all this. And Jesus takes on sin and literally reanimates and brings back to life, our innocence. And so that's really a line that I thought was very cool. It's very similar to the thinking of the Ballad of St. Augustine. Very, very, very similar songs, but where the Ballad of St. Augustine is more just focused on black and white and gray, and really finding yourself in gray instead of black and white. This song is focused on the cross of Christ and the actual work of Jesus reanimating innocence, in our life.
Yeah.
And Reanimate was actually also in the running for what the album was going to be called.
Yes, it was one of the options early on.
It was a huge, like, that close.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really was.
Yeah.
That close.
It really was.
We people don't know, Love Letter Kill Shot, we weren't that excited about the title. Like I was.
It took some convincing.
I thought it was really cool, but I wasn't really selling it very well.
Yeah, it took a lot of time. And
I was like, Love Letter. You're like, what does it mean?
Yeah.
Like I don't know. I don't get it.
It rolled off the tongue well. I always thought that, and but I kind of needed just some. Because we've been talking about a lot of really dark album titles that seemed to like. Be more like, coming from the place of some of the darker songs on the album. Yeah. And so like thematically I was definitely in that mindset, and so when you brought that I was like, oh well, what is that, and so eventually
I think for me too, where the album title became like I'm on board was when I saw the album art.
Yeah.
Like once we got the album art idea, and then Dan kind of sent over that first thing, because like I always thought it was cool, but like Josiah said, it like took a little while to just kind of like latch onto it. But as soon as I saw the album artwork, I was like, okay, yeah, I'm on board fully with this.
Another title I thought was cool that I couldn't convince anybody of was Rehabilitation of a Criminal. I thought that was a cool album. It was a mouthful.
It was
too much.
Totally a great idea,
Yeah.
and it just seemed like a mouthful for sure.
Yeah, like Cuffs to Criminal, and
Right.
like, I was like, oh, this would be a cool title, and everybody was like, no. See, we listen to each other around here. It's a team effort.
6
Yeah.
syllables.
What's up, brother?
Yeah, that
hey,
would've been
I'm
crazy.
I'm just putting the intelligence right up in the album title. What's up?
So I've got a YouTube comment that it was on this lyric video that I liked. It says, and this comment got 90 likes on YouTube, which is a big deal.
Jeez,
I know,
that many people look at YouTube?
right? So it says, people,
Get ready.
Jesus
is coming.
people, Christian rock bands don't really talk about God. Disciple, hold my Bible.
That's amazing. Shout out to whoever.
Yeah, it was Sanjay 115. Who's probably not a Rebel Society member yet.
Oh man.
But maybe.
But if you are, that was genius.
Yeah, mad props. I loved that.
If you can make this band laugh, you're pretty funny.
Yeah.
Like,
Hold my Bible. Don't mind if I do.
People. What was the first step for it?
Christian bands don't really talk about
Christian
God.
bands don't really talk about God. Wow.
So this was also, fun fact, the first song from the new album that we played live. We debuted it back in May, I believe.
Yep.
In Pennsylvania?
Yep, Junction Center.
Junction Center.
Yeah, so it was
One of our favorite places.
It is one of our favorite places, and we thought it would be probably the best song to come out swinging with, like in a live setting. Just again,
Come to find out, we are just now, like, I think the last 3 performances of Reanimate where I've actually been able to actually jump around and sing it, because it's very screamy, so I need breath.
Right.
And so I have to stand still
Yeah.
to get the right tone of those screams and whatever, because if I'm out of breath, it's just kind of, and
Right.
when I stand still, it's like, really get it better. And I'm just now starting to get comfortable with the song where I can like jump around and have a good time with the song.
It's a lot of fun.
It's taken months.
Cereal keeps falling on Joey. This
You are a honey bunch of
this
oats.
video brought to you by Post Cereal. But yeah, so
I
that
wish.
it was, I know, right? Yeah, that was the first one we played live. Super fun. We're playing it right now on tour, and it's just been awesome. People seem to like it. I think it's a Disciple classic already.
I think so. I think there is this market which we listen and we don't listen at the same time. This market for heavy songs,
Right.
but not everybody likes heavy songs. But there is this group of people that love heavy songs, and so this will be a fan favorite for a really long time. Being as heavy as it is, and what I say to the guys all the time is genre doesn't matter. Good is the goal.
Right.
Just because something's heavy doesn't mean it's good.
Right.
And
something good does not have to be heavy.
and something good does not have to be heavy. And so, yeah, but I think that we did write a really, really great song with this one.
Agreed.
And it was a very team effort, just everybody kind of chipping in and throwing in ideas and looking at where it started and then where, it became. And
Yeah, and
all
I'll
those
be
things.
dissecting the session in Tracks Talk this month. So if you haven't watched that yet, head over and watch that to see all the intricacies of the audio that we did, and a lot of cool layers that we came up with in the studio that was super fun.
Yep.
The last thing I was going to say was shout out to Joel Burris for making really great video content for this song. If you've been to a show and seen it,
Is the lyric video mostly the same?
it's a lot of the same elements, yeah. So if you watch the lyric video, it's a lot of the same elements, but I think live it's even better because there's not lyrics the whole time. It's more just the visuals, and man, it's awesome.
It's very dark.
It is. Yeah, he did a great job. So that's it, man. That's Reanimate. Thanks for listening. I think we pretty much covered it all. But thanks for being in the Rebel
So
Society.
no metal project, because every time we write a metal song,
I know.
every time we write a metal song, Joey's gonna be like, it just needs to be a Disciple
Yep.
song.
I'm gonna start an online petition, and I think I've got all of you on my side.
Well, honestly, that is kind of the problem. Is that if you make a good song, like you're just saying,
That's-
we
if
want
it's
good
good.
songs for Disciples. So
Exactly.
it's like, oh, that song's good. Like it could be better served over here, where it's gonna get a lot more attention. You know what I mean?
So people are like,
we
when's
gotta
the
write
metal
a lot
project
of-
coming out? It's like,
We got to write a lot of terrible heavy songs
Yeah, exactly.
for us to make a metal project. So
Exactly right.
oh man.
Thank you for being in the Rebel Society. Seriously, we love you all so much. We are getting close to 400 members.
that's crazy.
Can you believe that?
I can't.
So it's just nuts, and we're very excited. All that's going on. Thanks for supporting us, and hope you enjoyed this episode.
My thumbprint, I unlock my phone with my thumbprint. So does this unlock? What does this unlock?
Just the iPhone 11s. It's only for the new ones.
Oh, okay, sorry.
By the time this comes out, it won't be the new one anymore.
Oh,
But-
okay.
Thanks for watching.